welcome to this webinar. My name is Renuka Sunaraja, for those who have joined recently, joined our webinar just yesterday this time and joined in before. So first of all, I want to thank the speakers who have kindly offered to speak to us today. So today's webinar really is called IT Sector in the Northern Province. This is the second one, the second IT webinar that we've had. The first one was very much about the overall picture of the opportunities as well as training and so on. So that was the IT webinar just held 2 weeks ago. So this one is really focusing on companies that are presently in Jaffna or have a lot of roots in Jaffna. And it's about not just Jaffna, it's the Northern Province generally, and who are contributing greatly to the IT sector. So we have overall, we have 4 speakers. So there'll be 3 from different organizations or different establishments, and then the 4th one is really about a law and how to set up these companies and the challenges that they faced. So the first speaker is someone many of you know about, and that's Mr. Miller. And it's Mr. MillerAlexander Rajendran, who's the CEO at SenzAgro Technologies and the COO at SenzMate, Internet of Things Intelligence. He's a graduate of the University of Jaffna, and he worked with 2 of his colleagues, Jay and John, who found SenzAgro Technologies. And so some of their original products were kind of, if you like, too tech-heavy for Jaffna farmers. They're now going into a larger market and more advanced markets in Europe and Scandinavia. And they've also moved to the tech space in the Orion Park, just in Colombo as well. So please welcome Mr. Miller, who will speak to us now about digital technology adoption in conventional businesses. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Renuka. So everyone, it's a great pleasure to meet you all. So this is Miller from SenzMate. I'm representing my friends and my team from SenzMate IoT Intelligence and SenzAgro Solutions. So SenzMate, actually we born in 2015, straight away from the graduation. My friends are from electronics and telecommunication, Jay and John. They found the company. So we are straight out of YAL IT Hub backyard from YAL Geek Challenge startup program. So 2015, so the vision was very simple, but it was so big in the Sri Lankan context that time, when everyone thinking about Internet of Things and what's the concept of it. We took a step where we want to start an IoT company, which was a trend of the globe, and it will be the future. So so we don't want to go in the exact same way, like going an outsourcing company just for the sake of being an entrepreneur and trying out something. We want to recreate a brand from Sri Lanka and making a ground up startup which is exploring the global arena with a brand. So it was quite a good journey from the day one. So being a first IoT startup which started to working on end-to-end technology, started to build our own electronics, own hardware, own IoT platform and everything, and started to serving rural farming community. No one interested to invest on us at all in 2015. So fortunately, some good people from YAL IT Hub, we got our first crowdfunding and initiated a company and had a very successful failure within 6 months. So we bankrupted the entire money by investing everything on technology, serving farmers and collecting like $10 per month subscription. We find out very quickly this is a no-go. So then we came back to Colombo with some burn experience, and fortunately ICTA, Sri Lankan ICT agency, which give us a hand with a grant and an accelerator program. So engineers, we learned every single aspect of entrepreneurship. So being honestly, we are not born entrepreneurs. That's what we always say to our juniors and the people who are mentoring. So we taught entrepreneurs. We were trained for all the aspects. We gather all the required pieces, missing pieces, except for the technology part, what we learn academically. So first of all, started in the agriculture field. We need a pivot, which we understood very quickly. Then we had a pivot on post-harvest technologies and supply chain technologies. So with the grant of ICTA in 2016, we got a opportunity to represent Sri Lanka in Mobile World Congress Barcelona. Then we got an idea like how the global startup ecosystem work, how the IoT ecosystem in the global work, and how we can fit that into a local context with affordability and localization to a tailor-fit solution, and where we can support conventional industries in Sri Lanka. So it's not just a motive, it's a huge opportunity and a gap. If you find the emerging market globally, that was the largest audience pool. So, and the biggest gap between the western part of the world exploring from the industrial revolution to inside-oriented business environments and the data-driven business opportunities. So that it's not a possible scenario for the exploring or emerging countries like Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka was a fantastic place for experiment something in a smaller scale where you can replicate to a closer market which have a more than 2 billion audience around. So we took that opportunity. So where we can explore cutting edge technology, what the western part of the world exploring, and we can give the same technology with affordability and the localization. So the post-harvest technology was quite a good hit. So still it was one of our bread and butter where we pumping money for all of other R&D and exploring other technologies. So we got all the blue chip companies in Sri Lanka on board as a client base within 2 years period, and we expanded to 7 different countries. Our product, our vision to make a Sri Lankan brand which is starting from the northern province with acquiring more engineers from north and exploring a market opportunity globally and taking a Sri Lankan brand to global market. So we have this product was launched in Australia, Netherlands, Canada, now UK is utilizing. So it was a global product right now. With that track record and experience, we started to initiate a sector-specific intelligence, exploring multiple conventional industry and seeking opportunities and giving an insight-driven business model with IoT technology, human error-free sensor-based data technologies. So we started to explore usage-based insurance. We are proud to say we started the first usage-based insurance platform in Sri Lanka. Many people say it won't work. So even in the global market, it was exploring market, but we proved that wrong. We made good partnership with investors and a co-founder. So now we are joined with one of the largest insurance company in the world and introducing usage-based insurance in Sri Lanka, a company called Mosurance. Now SenzMate has become more of a group of companies with multiple spin-off venture. So again, 2015 was for agriculture, where we all coming from agriculture background, 4 engineers from 3rd, 4th generation farmers. Now, we took our dream project again. Now it's from 2018, we start our dream company called SenzAgro with so many pivots, so many learnings. So SenzAgro is the first climate smart technology company built in Sri Lanka, and now it's a global phenomenon. So we exploring global entities, won international awards in Edinburgh, Helsinki, and India. Currently working on 2 different investment rounds, having international investors on board, now exploring Asia Pacific region, and it's expanding to an extent. Starting from 2 engineers, we are proud to say, and we can definitely say that we are the largest IoT only dedicated IoT company in Sri Lanka with largest number of engineers. So we have 33 IoT specific engineers team from 2 engineers within 3 years period. And last year we was listed by Australian magazine as one of the top 25 IoT solution provider in the Asia Pacific region. So that one of the huge achievement, because on that list, along with Sigfox and LoRaWAN, we are the smallest company with the lowest number of employees. So that was a success story for us for a long time. So this COVID brings different positive and negative environment. So one negative environment, obviously we are a hardware oriented installation based business, so it's a struggle. We have to work on a different business model. But the positive part, the adaptability of our technology was improved globally, especially in Sri Lanka. If you take conventional businesses like farming, for an example, agriculture, where when your kid started to moving to online classes, the farmers forced to acquire mobile phones, smartphones. So ADB now representing the insight saying now the farmers' smartphone penetrations reach up to 40%. So this is a huge opportunity where many new incomes can come on board. Marketplaces or payment mechanism, insurance mechanism. So it's open up a new avenue. So another important pattern we observed in Sri Lankan context also, most of the industries, they now moving toward digitalization. Many governments, they moving their flow areas into technology based, less human interventions and dependency on human, or removing most of the middleman on the supply chain, or many stakeholders, unwanted stakeholders will be removed from supply chain. And so this type of digitalization is enabling in all different sectors. So there's no restrictions on opening up new doors for technology avenue. So this is a perfect time where new inventions can be started up in local context, because that's where we are lacking in terms of initiating something which is suitable for Sri Lankan context and exploring the global market. So the island mentality is the surrounding part we need to overcome. So fortunately, because of the ecosystem, SenzMate become an inseparable part of the Sri Lankan startup ecosystem right now. And we got opportunity to train or mentoring multiple startups throughout Sri Lanka, the tip of Jaffna to Matara. We have entrepreneurs who are training from SenzMate, or we mentoring them in multiple cases. We say one thing, so the vision is supposed to be localized, but it's supposed to be a global company from day one. So this is an opportunity. There are multiple visionary startup can pop up, but this, even for now, 2020, the same problem what we faced on the early days, investors who are not interested or visionary enough to invest on vision, and they're seeking a global entity. So so we need more and more investors coming from global aspect to Sri Lankan context, where visionary entrepreneurs with funded by visionary investors. So those are the opening, and we are in the right place on right time. The expansion of technology was so big, and it has opened up all the avenues. So it's the right time for any investors to look in Sri Lanka as a perfect opportunity to invest and grow. That's it from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your talk. Really, it's just a window as to what is happening from your company's point of view. And just to note that Professor Rohan Samarajiva, who is from the ICTA, would be summarizing it towards the end of the talk. So I'm sure he's pleased to hear what you had to say about them funding you. Now, do you mind taking a few questions?
Pleasure is mine, please.
For a couple of minutes before we move on to the next speaker. Anyone would like to speak? Please go ahead. Please unmute yourself if you have a question. Or we can ask questions later on, perhaps. Wait.
I have one question. Miller, the agriculture product, how big is it in Sri Lanka? Is there customers for you?
Exactly. So we now in a stage where we started in a very slow movement. It took 3 years for us to bring the product market fit. But with the investment of John Keel's Holding, we were invested by Sri Lanka's largest conglomerate and another private equity firm from UK. So now we open up the market from product market fit and be commercially successful. Despite the COVID situation, compared to the year we launched last year, our revenue increased by 10 times. So that's give us a confidence where we can explore more in Sri Lankan context. Mainly the B2B environments, they want the digitalization and the transparency and traceability along with their products. So now only Sri Lanka try to realize that we are not India. We can't produce raw material for the global. We are supposed to be a value-added service country as a small environment. So create more and more ecosystem which can support and giving more value to the product what we are producing. For an example, Ceylon brand of Ceylon tea or Ceylon spices, or the organic GAP certification, and giving traceability for that geotag coming from Ceylon, and that kind of branding. So we are exploring some of our opportunity. For example, we have clients on very interesting concept, coconut wine production, that means coconut toddy production. So Ceylon coconut toddy, that geotag with the climate, with the the practices they're using in the farm, that was a global phenomena right now. So that everything comes into a small QR code where we can trace back and find this is coming from real Sri Lanka. It's not just taken from Ceylon and mixed up somewhere and going away. So we have good number of B2B environment. Majority are B2B because they realize the opportunity and they think in the long term. But SME and smallholder adaptation was little slow. We are using different approaches for this, like smallholder association we are targeting on. Cumulatively, we supporting smallholders as a small group of audience. So they distribute the expenses of technology and the utilization of it. For an example, we recently developed a system for 46 smallholder, maybe half an acre to 1 acre vanilla farms in Matale. So total 46-acre land space. This was one project by the corporate. So all the benefit goes to the smallholder. They distribute the price between them. So that bring a huge price discount compared to a normal individual acquiring technology. So there are multiple ways we are approaching them. So in Sri Lanka, yes, there's a huge opportunity, and coming 2021, we have a good number of pipeline projects waiting for us. Happy to say that. So it was postponed due to COVID, but even during COVID, we opened up new markets. We are proud to say that we are the first company from Sri Lanka to export AgTech solutions to Middle East and Japan. So we export our gadgets to Middle East and Japan. So there are openings, and 2021 is very bright for us to open up new markets and investment opportunities.
Mr. Miller, the present day context, I think the priorities are, of course, agriculture. Now, what are the areas that you all can concentrate on or support the country in the logistics of the new COVID vaccine when it comes in? Because there are a lot of talks about the COVID vaccine related transportation, logistics, temperatures, so on and so forth. Have you all looked into that aspect? Agriculture is good, but your other company, is it looking into that aspect?
Still, it's kind of a conspiracy theory. The medicine is still on the fence. So we're working on COVID-related environment. We try to build a tracing platform, a complete platform. We built it already, but it was not utilized, it's not recognized. So now we're currently working on a research. So through SenzMate, we have a project called SenzMate IoT Launchpad. So that launchpad concept is very simple, where global startups and global companies, they do their R&D in Sri Lanka for a very, very cheap pricing, affordable pricing, I would say. Because the R&D cost, product market fit, understanding IoT from end to end, hardware to AI building and everything is comparably cheap here. So we are building a smartwatch for doctors, which is basically giving a predictability whether the doctor washing his hand every half an hour after accessing a patient. So that's given an indication for the doctor at the same time sitting in front of him. So it's a very interesting concept, a novel concept. I'm not sure how far it's going to be adapted in Sri Lanka, but this is a research we already did and successful. This is going to be an IP for a startup, what we are supporting in Canada right now. So we're working on those environment, but not really recognized in Sri Lankan context, I would say. But globally, yes, there are a few ways we are working on.
No, my question was, once the vaccine comes into Sri Lanka, distribution and logistics is going to be one of the hardest things. That in that area, yes, are you all going in?
Yeah, definitely. So logistics is one of the main core areas. So as you know, SenzMate Polar is one of the core environment where we're working on the logistics side of it. So we're upgrading that to a huge traceable platform. So definitely those are environment we are working on, especially on the perishable and meat industry.
Sorry, I think we'll have to go on to the next speaker as soon as possible.
Sure.
Thank you
so much, everyone. It's a great pleasure to meet you all.